Prepare for a fusion of knowledge and exhilaration where education and excitement collide.
Taking you on an adventure that expands your mind and speaks to your spirit.
I'm Master Nick.
I'm Lady D.
We are the Dom Life.
This podcast contains sexually explicit topics and adult content.
It is intended for listeners 18 and older.
The opinions expressed in this podcast are ours alone, based on our personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
We understand that others may have different opinions and experiences, and we respect that. We would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us at www.thedomlife.com. Now, going back to your free time, so if I'm not mistaken, you all have date night every week, right?
Every Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Right.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night.
This is what happens when you run a club.
Yeah,
You
'cause
do date night
you're
on Wednesday.
Setting in the club on Thursday, getting prepared for the weekend.
Correct.
You're here on Friday for the new people that come in. You're here on Saturday for the big main event. And then you're probably back on Sunday cleaning and straightening.
Sunday,
and
Monday.
Tuesday for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Who's responsible for setting up the date nights?
It's just a group effort. Yeah.
Basically, it just depends on the mood, right? We'll
Right.
key in off of how much energy was drained out of us from the weekend before.
I
Right.
love that. Yes.
And then we'll figure it out. So if there is a big drive for a crowd,
Right.
we set up one of the things we like to do is we like to go to a local casino,
Right.
right? And fortunately, they comp rooms there.
Right.
So both of us will get a room. They'll be adjoining, so then we can have date with date night
Gotcha.
if we want to. There's multiple options to do there. And the best part about being in that environment, if you invite people and they don't want to participate, but they want to stay through, rooms are available for them as well. Or
Right.
if they want to bring their own potential dates for the evening, they can do that as well. But there's a lot of options there. There's great food.
I was going to say that food is good.
Yeah.
That's like they've got to in order to keep people eating at the casinos.
You
Yeah.
don't even have to gamble. And then
We like
one
to
of the
people watch.
people watch, and they have a pool and a hot tub if it's working.
I love the hot tub. Hot tub's my thing.
I love hot tubs.
Yeah, that is huge for us. So, and it's a nice release. But due to the fact that it is on Wednesday, it does limit the options
Right.
of those that we really want to get to come, but they can't break away during the week.
Right.
Yeah, it makes it really hard on us because our weekends are taken
Right.
by the club.
Yeah.
Every weekend. Yeah.
But we have got a great staff now.
Oh, my
We've
gosh,
got an
yes.
assistant manager and a lead. So they are able to work more and we're able to back off some. Like, for instance, this Friday we're taking off so that we can go do a harvest.
Celebrate
homecoming.
the anniversary.
Well, I was going to
Yeah.
say the anniversary
Yeah.
was the first time you guys had a VIP room yourselves, right?
Oh, just
Oh,
this past
yeah.
year, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's
3 years, yep.
That's crazy that you work here, you're here all the time. But even when you're here, the problem is that night was pretty good in terms of
We didn't
because
leave
you got
the
good
VIP.
Yeah.
Right.
We
That's-
didn't leave the VIP.
Yep. And then, the staff definitely stepped up that night. and
Absolutely.
took care of things.
Yes.
Yeah, the big anniversary that we're talking about for tomorrow, Friday, is years ago, we sat down and we did the Harvest Homecoming. And that is when we sat with Tina and Scott and worked out, talking about everything. And we're like,
That's
well,
what we were
let's
gonna ask.
finally just do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
We shook on it, and
yeah.
that's
Years
when
ago,
Tempt was born.
years and years and years ago, I guess it was our honeymoon when I first introduced Tina and Scott to Tonya. And we were in Cancun, Mexico, and we had talked about it back then, but for lack of better words, the groups here and everything were committed to BGS.
Yes.
And unfortunately BGS closed. The building was horrible, but the people there
Right.
made it amazing. And when that closed, it was almost like everybody was looking for somewhere to go. You have Dan and Melody doing a great job over at Boomers, keeping everybody going. They've been going a long time,
Yes.
still going strong, throwing great parties and everything else, but there was always a need for variety. and they had themed rooms at BGS.
Okay.
You know, so different things like that needed to be brought back in for people's enjoyment. And Tanya had a vision, and Tina and Scott had a vision. Everybody had this vision of putting everything together, and the cards just fell into place. And Harvest Homecoming was it. So that's one of the big celebrations every year is Harvest Homecoming.
I joke and tell everybody that the only way I can explain what happened is John and I wanted a baby. We couldn't produce one.
Okay.
They were our.
Absolutely.
They gave us our baby.
Right.
Yeah.
So we raised it.
The baby that's never going to fully
Club-
grow up.
Correct.
Tempted.
Yeah.
People may not see them all the time because
Makes
they
lots
have
of
a
messes.
busy lifestyle, but this place would not be here without Tina and Scott.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Period.
I mean,
We've got to meet them a couple of times, and yeah.
They
abs-
like being the silent partner
Right.
until something's wrong. Then they're not silent.
They
Which is-
educate you.
That's the way it should be with a good boss, right?
Yep.
Silent
Absolutely.
partner,
Yeah.
silent
Absolutely.
until needed.
So during that time of discussions, you all had a vision. Is this the vision you had at the time, or is it much more now than what you ever thought it would be?
Did you have to change it or adjust it in order to make it actually be a place?
No, really. When we all sat down, it was just we all agreed on everything, and then
This is much better, I think, than
Oh, yeah,
what I had
definitely.
originally anticipated. Because coming into it, if just to describe when you came to this building
oh, it was
prior, it was a hot mess. It could have been decades of 40 years worth
Yeah.
of club, different depending upon where you were at in the building and everything else, you know, and trying to bring that sexy
Right.
look to this building. It was a lot of hard work on
Luckily,
everybody's part.
we all had really good visions. We could see.
Right.
We
Yeah.
could see what this could be. We could
Right.
see the diamond in the rough. And I don't want to go without mentioning Holly.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Holly is actually, she works for Scott and Tina.
Okay.
Worked for them for years. She is actually a lot of the decor that you see. We were able just to throw it down. This is what we were looking for. These are the colors we want. Da 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 da.
She would hunt it out.
Yeah.
Hunt
Really?
it out like a bloodhound.
And Harley would even come into this building, and stuff would arrive, and it was like, oh my God, Holly, this is exactly what I wanted. This is perfect. She was able to nail it every time.
Or if it didn't match, she had no hesitation. We'll just send it back.
Yep. Yeah.
We'll swing at it again. We'll try it again.
Yes.
Nice.
But it was really, it flowed very well.
Right.
Like there was never really any hiccups whatsoever. We were able to sit down and have discussions, and there was no negativity, and it just flowed, and it was like she was meant to be. And I know I say she. That's what I call her. Tempted as a she. She's a sexy bitch. She can be a bad bitch too, but she's sexy.
Oh, yeah.
And she's definitely, each year I feel she's growing, not only with our members, but we change it up let's be honest, a woman likes to change her hair, get new nails, whatever. We're going to do that with Tempted too. She's going to change up.
Right.
You're going to come in, and each time you come in, there'll be a little tweak here, a little tweak here. Just know that we're always tweaking to make it better.
Well, and that's how you keep on top of the game. That's how you keep new members coming and existing members happy. Because if I've had sex 5 million times in one room, I'm like, man, it would be nice if this looked different.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The mirror room showed up.
Yes.
You read my mind.
The
That's what I
mirror
was
room
just
showed
thinking
up.
about.
Man, I like that room. We take pictures in there all the time. Not even, for me, it isn't even about sex. It was just, we took a bunch of pictures
Right.
with the girls because there's so many mirrors. So that one just showed up magically one day.
Yep.
That's one of the things that I always talk about her is if we could have out-of-body experiences, so she could have my view, POV porn or whatever, if she could have my view and I could have her view, to see exactly, not necessarily just the physical contact and the touching and the strokes and the rhythm and all of that stuff, but also to have the visual of what I have. That's what I always drive for. And whenever you have mirrors around a room, on the walls, on the ceiling, and multiple angles of different things, it is an eye-opener.
Right.
And you start to think, oh, that's why that feels so much better whenever I'm doing that little grind and that angle. Different things like that, you know. So it really helps. And it also, I think it helps the climax as well. I think it's a lot bigger climax at
Right.
the end because of those things.
I feel bad because sometimes when we're
Let's
doing
go
that,
catch that room.
I want to
next-
watch. I want to watch everything.
You can definitely do it in that room for sure.
Absolutely.
You obviously manage Club Tempted. Does your family know? Do your friends? I mean, obviously, you've already said that most of your friends are within the lifestyle, but are you open about the fact that this is a lifestyle club that you manage? Or
Absolutely. We both looked at each other and we said, we're never really going to run for politics at all. Right. But if there
you
was...
could.
If
You
there,
could.
If there was ever
Tonya, on the other hand,
political involvement within the lifestyle, yes, we would do that. If we could do ambassadors for the lifestyle, we would do something like that because we live, eat, breathe, sleep that energy. And we had... always had this open relationship with all of our children and then all of our family as well as to how involved we are with this.
Right.
And the older they get, then the more they were led on to exactly what it is that we do. And then finally, a little bit prior to the club opening, we came out with all of it to, I'm guessing, your children and mine too, but
Just so you know, we have 8.
we have 8.
We have 8 blended family. So, yeah. And they range right now from 32 to 19. So, my older children knew because their father and I were divorced because of the lifestyle.
okay.
All right.
So, there can be a negative side. There,
Right.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
and we see it. But we stay on the positive side. But going back, so I was able to tell because my kids were like, Mom is so happy. They absolutely adore this man. What's changed?
Right.
And we had to be open and say, well, we have I don't say we have an open marriage.
No, because you'd kill a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm willing
Oh, you
to
said
share,
my
but you
words.
don't get them.
Yeah, exactly. But we're very open with each other and able to agree and disagree and not have blow-ups about any of that. So when the kids started, where are y'all going all the time? What are y'all doing? It was like, okay, we had to let them know. So the older ones, they had already knew. The younger ones, they thought it was funny. They really thought it was funny when they saw Mom and Dad on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. They
On
started seeing
YouTube.
the videos and everything else, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Let Mom explain that
Yeah.
one.
The
for
one
a
daughter
minute.
came home from college. She was in Bloomington.
Yeah.
And she said, hey, can I ask you a question? Sure. And she's like, I need to ask you a question alone. I'm like, oh, hell, what's wrong? So go in there and she goes, does John sleep with other women?
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me? What are you talking about? And she's like, does he have sex with other women? And I was like, do you really want to have this conversation?
That's one of the questions I'd ask.
Yeah.
Is
Oh, yeah.
this something
Yeah.
you want to know? Because
you
I'll be
ready?
honest.
Are you ready? Yeah. And I said, if you're ready for it, we will have this adult conversation. Now, mind you, she's at the time was 24. So she was like, well, I've already seen on TikTok and YouTube. I'm like, okay, well, let's have this conversation. This one had went out to the car. We were going somewhere. So needless to say, I had to hold up.
Yeah.
You're going to have to wait because this is going to be a deep conversation. And actually, after I laid it all out for her, she was very accepting and understood. Every now and then she'll look at us and go, what about that friend? What about that friend? Because we have people over, to swim or we go to dinner or whatever. And I always say when they ask, well, you need to ask them because it is not my place to
Oh,
say.
that's a good one. That's a
Yes.
good one. Because
You need to ask
we
them.
also, most of our people, our core people are all now lifestyle people.
Right.
Yep.
And you build better, stronger friendships, I
Yes.
think, than we did in the vanilla world.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
You
they
can be
understand
yourself.
us. They exactly.
You
It's
can
full
be yourself,
acceptance.
and you've done seen every flaw and every inch of bare naked body. So it's
Yeah.
all out there. It's wide open, and a lot more
Absolutely.
meaningful friendships out
Yeah.
of it.
There's nothing to hide at that point. You
Exactly.
just, yeah, I love it.
Even within the especially within the lifestyle, you see relationships breaking. If you're not communicating, we talk about it all the time with the BDSM. If you're not open and communicating, it will fail. It
Absolutely.
will fail because this is an environment that allows. Sometimes it allows people that are not fine, upstanding people to hide under the guise because, we're just doing this together, but not necessarily.
Right.
So one of the things we've had to do multiple times as a situation arises that hadn't happened prior, that I got upset about, I would have to go to him and say, okay, not what I expected. I didn't expect to react like this, but we're here now. I like that. We're here now, so let's talk about it because I need to make sure I'm okay so that we're okay.
You know, when you all are talking about that, that's almost rolls back to the same thing that we do with the interview process. And I talk to new folks, and you said, new ones coming in and trying to figure things out. And even with Tonya and I tell new couples coming in, regardless of what's going on, the two smiles, all that energy, excitement, and everything else, that's your biggest focal point. Anything else that happens outside of that is always the icing on the cake, And regardless of whatever, I tell them, Tonya and I, we call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have had some amazing times together. We have had some whoa times together
Right.
in the lifestyle with things that we've experienced. But the main thing to always remember is it's probably both of our first time experiencing it.
Right.
So you don't necessarily have to cause a scene or whatever, but whenever you talk about it, you cannot get the jealousy. You cannot get that negative energy. What you need to do is voice those true feelings and
Correct.
opinions or whatever you have going on so that you know how to handle it going forward, right?
It's not about beating you up about what happened.
Yeah.
It's about how do we make sure that we don't get to this place of where one or both of us are unhappy again. That's always the goal.
Right.
I
We
mean,
do-
grass is always greener, right? And it's like,
No.
so
It's
it's
just a
not.
different, it's just a different shade,
Right.
different shit.
Fertilize with
That's
more
right.
shit's what it is.
We do something a little different. And I tell a lot of new people, especially when we really are their first place that they go to. If this is your first club, I highly suggest that you make friends with your spouse or your partner and you say, let's have friend talk.
Friend talks.
Right.
Not husband and wife, not partner talk, friend talk. So it's almost like you're giving yourself, here's my hall pass to say whatever I need to
Wow.
say. And you're not going to judge me. You're not going to be mad at me. This is just something I need to discuss.
Right.
So, and I'm sure that you all have that in the BDSM world.
Oh, yeah.
This is what's worked for Jon and I.
Right.
It may not
Right.
work for everybody else, but I offer that suggestion to others because you need that space to where you could step out of the relationship and be able to discuss things without being judged.
Very
One
well
of
said.
the
Very well said.
a friend space, because honestly, when your partner is pissing you off, you're texting your friend or calling your friend and saying, "Do you know what he did?" That's what we need.
Yeah.
That's
With
a
one
good way
another,
to-
yeah.
That's a good. We have that 95% of the time. There's a 5% where, and you usually approach it by going, I know what I'm going to say is going to piss you off, but it's not about you right now. I'm not trying to hurt you or upset you. I'm upset and I don't want to feel this way. So here's what I've got. Now, tell me in return something that I can help to fix it, because I think it's always two people. It's never just one. Even if he did something, now I know that there's something on my side too that I could tweak that can make it better for him too.
Right.
So
That is, and again, just about every episode we've done, we've talked about communication, how big it is in the BDSM world that you have to communicate. But, as we're learning and as we're growing, the swinger community is exactly the same way then. You have to be able to admit what is bothering you or admit your feelings, and the person listening has to be able to accept that and acknowledge that and then come together and find a way to work around that.
Tonya, what is your favorite room here? which room would be your favorite room?
Wow.
John wants to know.
Well, honestly, and you all probably are not going to believe this, we've not really utilized many of the rooms.
I do believe it because
believe
you
it.
didn't even do VIP and
Yeah. So if I had to choose one, I really like the swing room.
you do.
I do
Okay.
like the swing room.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you don't have a swing at home?
I don't have a swing at home.
We have a portable one. And it's when I say it's a portable swing, it is it's a leather cushion pad with 2 handles on it, and I can throw it under her butt and hold her up in the
Yeah.
air. But it's not static to the ceiling; it's static to wherever in the hell I feel like taking her.
Being in the swing for me it's effortless. you
Right.
know, and it's also effortless kind of for him also because
Right.
he's just got to kind of stand there and push me.
Right.
Everything
Yep.
else kind of slaps back. But
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, John, do you have one?
Oh, to me, it's almost situational.
Okay.
I have some great memories in 1, 2, 3, 4 of the rooms, but with the recent restructure of that mirror room, I absolutely love the mirror room
Right.
just for the simple fact of being able to look at the different angles.
only because you had 2 females in there.
Well, I mean,
I've had just you in there, and I've had 2 females in there. Yeah. I'm open for more people in there too. I'm just saying.
Open invitation.
Yeah. We're accepting applications now.
So, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
So, how did you all come up with the ideas for the themed rooms?
Oh my gosh, there was a list.
There still is a list.
I was going to say there's got
I
to
know,
be.
I know you all
still
are
a list.
always asking what's something,
Yes.
what's like the most popular vote or something
When
like
we
that. So-
travel, we try to hit any other lifestyle club in anywhere we're at.
right.
Nice.
That way we can see what other people have.
Right.
See if we are up to par with everybody else or, oh, that's not a good idea and we won't bring it here kind of thing. But I'm always looking.
Love the showers. That's the only reason we were able to do the cake thing.
Yes.
There you go.
The showers were.
We still need to add another shower head in the party shower.
Yeah, the
But-
bigger shower needs a dual head on
Yeah.
both sides.
But that was our baby. And that was our baby for one main reason was we used to be boaters. We had
Right.
so many people who would come off the river and want to come here, but they were going to be coming so late because they had to go home and take a shower.
Right.
So we got the showers. So now they can just come straight
Tina
here.
and Scott came through on that one solid because originally the locker room,
It was going to be showers.
those were all supposed to be showers.
Okay.
In that room right there, but due to some code or something to do with plumbing and everything at the last minute, in order for us to get everything finished up, we had to take that off the plate entirely.
Right.
And it was a sacrifice everybody here was willing to make for the better part of the whole club
get us
as a
open.
whole, to
Right.
get us open and everything else. And we knew that, if we keep pushing, the showers would come.
Right.
I really want one of our, when we do, because we are, I don't know if you know, we are doing another edition.
I've heard that.
Louisville's holding us up right now. Everything from what we've been told, all the blueprints, everything's done. We're just waiting for them to approve them or whatever. I really want a room to where people can watch you on a TV. Like you can push a button.
So you're in a room, but there's a TV somewhere else that people can
Yeah,
watch.
we've had
Yeah.
a lot of people ask about that, and I'm like, you know what? I think I would like that too. Just the thought
The thought of
that
people.
a group of people are
I
watching what we're
agree.
doing.
There's
Right.
a lot of walks of the lifestyle that come through these doors, and some of the folks that come through are voyeurs
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
who don't
Right.
really participate, and some are exhibitionists
Right.
who just want to, show how compassionate they are with one
Right.
another and share that part of their life with everybody around them. And those type of situations could either enhance that
Right.
to where they're in a room with cameras and they have a sense of security, but in the same breath, there's that,
They know.
little spice.
Oh, yes.
that
I'm
it's on
with
the
that.
TVs in the next room.
Right.
And then that can entice whomever's in that next room to try and mimic those moves or try to one-up it or
Right.
anything else. Or you could even make dare games, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. But it opens up that new variety
Right.
of expansion.
So the doors have both the ropes so that you can leave the door open, have it roped off so it's private. The door could be open, which means you can join. A rope means you can watch, and then a door shut so you can have privacy. And it's really hard. It's a little bit better up in that area in terms of talking and noise and stuff, but it's still, people aren't, it's a club and you're enjoying and you're talking and it's loud and you're down here and then you go upstairs and sometimes people's voices get a little bit loud. And so for me, that takes me out. So I put in my little earbuds, which means I can't hear everything all the time. But one of the things up there is that would be a way that I could enjoy having sex with Master Nick and let somebody else watch it in another room.
There you go.
I think that's
And
awesome.
I'm sure
Real time.
I could probably slip a 20 and it might even get recorded.
There you go. See, and this was really someone had brought it up in passing. It was
Right.
never brought up again, and it stuck in my head. And I've just been thinking and thinking and thinking. And I'm like, you know what? I think it would work here. I think people would like it. Same way with the big dungeon. As you all know, we had the smaller dungeon.
Correct.
We listened, and we had, almost 40% of our members are into the BDSM. They may not be fully into it,
Right.
but they like to dabble.
Right.
And by listening to everybody, and we were told that the big dungeon is what they wanted, that room stays hopping.
It does.
It is so busy.
It does.
And we love it because it's a beautiful space too. And
Yes.
I think we did a pretty good job about pulling it off, making it look like a dungeon.
It looks great. Now, one downside for me or for us, I missed the location.
So the crazy part of it is it's so crazy because at the other location, at that edge, any of the swingers that were coming through
Was watching.
Would stop.
they'd stop because they'd be like, what's this? And over where it is now, people are making a point of going over there, but if not, if they're going over and they're not really into it or haven't seen it, it takes us a
It-
little
it
bit
does get
off
missed,
of that.
right.
It's
Yeah.
the only crazy thing. They just
right.
it was always like up and down the stairs, people just standing watching.
Right.
Right.
Now,
So-
you do still get a good crowd there, but and again, I love the space because it definitely needed to be bigger because you get 2 or 3 people in there at one time. That room, you was hitting each other and all that. So
Oh, yeah.
it definitely love the expansion,
Definitely.
but just a little bit. I missed the location just a little bit.
Just for that.
However, there is still usually a pretty good crowd
Yes.
that gathers and watches, and some will come in, but yeah.
Some are too
Yeah.
loud when they come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's a lot of people talk about dungeon etiquette, and it's true. You go to a BDSM dungeon, that's where that etiquette really comes in at.
Right.
For us, I know I don't speak for everybody that comes here that goes in that dungeon, but for us, I expect it. Again, that's why she brings her earbuds. You've still got the music blaring. You can still hear the music. People are going to talk, and they're going to talk louder than the music. And then you're going to get another couple that wants to talk, and they, so it's going to get loud. There is no way you're going to keep the dungeon up there at a whisper.
Right.
And-
Unless we had a separate building.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that though. but again, we expect that, and I'm fine with that. I can tune everything out. Half the time, I don't even hear the music. I got my own thing going on in my head. I know she's got her earbuds in. She can't hear nothing. So we're perfectly good. So
And a
there's
lot
not
of
problem.
times, if I hear it, if we're in the dungeon and there is somebody that's being not outside the door because there's a bathroom out, bathrooms in the showers out there and stuff. So I'm not trying to impact anybody else. But inside, if it gets too loud, I'm more than willing to say, "Excuse me, it's too loud."
Yeah.
Well, you guys saw that too. Sometimes I have to.
All right.
So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Because we've not been to other dungeons. So have you been to other dungeons?
Yes.
A few.
We keep hearing about a dungeon master. Is that just somebody who keeps everything under control?
So most of the places, so a lot of the dungeons that we've been to have been conventions. We did go to one actual what it is dungeon. We have planned to go to L&K's dungeon to experience
soon.
that as soon as some of our hectic life slows down a little bit. There is, if it is an actual BDSM dungeon, you will see a dungeon master and what that person is. And it's hard to do by themselves, so they've always got people that help them. But it is basically walking around, making sure everything is consensual, making sure there isn't any problems, make sure nothing's unsafe.
In terms of cuffs, the restraints.
Right.
Because BDSM gets into some areas that can be intense. And when you're at a dungeon, they allow needle play and fire, not necessarily fire play, but they do allow some things that you wouldn't do at a swingers club. I mean, even though this is a lifestyle club, because then you would have to have somebody there monitoring and watching it all and making sure it doesn't go too crazy. I think here, it is, if the space allowed for maybe 3 more people in one single room where it's 6 or 7 people playing, I think at that point you would need it. But with the 3, there's too many of the BDSM people in it that we watch it. We know what's safe, what's not safe. And you're pretty much always got one of us waiting for the cross or waiting for something.
Right. And even in here, I mean, it don't get too crazy. Here you get the impact, the electric wand. You really don't get a broad range of the BDSM.
Right.
You know, it's all pretty simple, pretty basic,
Straightforward stuff.
the same stuff.
Because when we were actually at the dungeon, even the convention dungeon, the kind of stuff that people do was eye-opening.
Yeah. There was some stuff that we had never seen, never heard of, and was like, wow.
Even the performance that was up at the top, the Dom choked out the sub intentionally. It was, where they pushed choked her out right there after.
An intense
Think of somebody
impact.
The size of a pencil being beaten by somebody the size of a very big, large man. I mean, big, large. He was doing
a heavy impact, very heavy impact. And then afterwards, during aftercare, 2 or 3 times,
he choked her
he
out.
would choke her out.
During aftercare.
Yeah.
Because that's what their dynamic
He
is. But
he was sitting in a chair. She was sitting in the floor between his legs. And he would reach over and she would raise her head up for him to get around her neck. And you'd see her just go completely limp. And he would hold her. And then she would come back to, and he'd rub her and pet her and, talk to her. And then he'd put his hand around her throat and she'd raise her head back up again. And, it was several times. So it was eye-opening to see even just that part. It was cool.
right. So this club is by far the most amazing thing ever. It's
Thank
one
you.
of the things, it comes up in every episode.
Yeah.
The fact that we have such a huge dance floor, the rules that are in place make it an elegant place. You have to work and tweak, and I know that people, why do we have to do this? Because that's what makes the club elegant.
We tell everybody it's tempted standards. We don't want to be like anybody else. We want to stand alone. So we might be a little bit abrasive on some things, but we do it to keep her the way she is.
Right. Well, I mean, you have to. You can't just open up to wear whatever you want to the club, because then you're going to have your flip-flops and your tank tops. And I know certain themes.
Right.
Beach day, you're expected
Absolutely.
to see flip-flops and all that. So with themes, but if it's not a certain theme, you don't want people coming in here with, with what they worked in that day or any of that. So,
Smelling like they worked all day.
Well,
So-
one of the things that I tell everybody is Tempted herself is sexy and clean.
yep.
I want my members to be sexy and clean.
Right.
And we kind of got some kickback on that because people thought by me saying that was saying that, oh, you got to be Barbie-kin type of people.
No.
If you've ever been to this club, you can guarantee you're going to see every walk of life.
They let me in here every weekend.
They kind of have to.
We just want everybody to feel the way they should in this club.
Right.
And when you walk through that door, you should feel sexy.
Right.
Right.
So present yourself that way.
Right.
Because if you present yourself as, I'm just getting off the lawnmower,
Then there's other clubs for you.
exactly.
Right.
There's
We're
other
not the club
places
for
that
you.
are your home
Yeah.
because you guys do not only to keep her sexy, you guys keep her fully stocked, fully available, the things that you have. So I do scavenger hunts as one of my games. And one of the things, it was like find lube. Well, that wasn't hard, but everybody didn't. They went running around. And then I turned and there it is in
Right.
the VIP right there. So there's your lube. You know, you guys work very hard at keeping the stock, the supply, the bathrooms, having mouthwash. I had to use that the other day. I'm like, I just know that I ate something. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, because every now and then we have pizza.
And the chili cook-offs.
Or if you have multiple good times throughout the evening, there are times you might need some mouthwash in
Right.
between just as a courtesy to your next partners.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you don't necessarily bring it from home, but hey,
Right.
Tanya thought of it.
Yep.
Right.
It is.
I
It
feel
is
that
great.
way about everything. You guys have kept it. I do the same thing with my Airbnb, which is why I appreciate it. I know the cost, the expense, and the attention that has to go in to training all your people to stock it right, to have everything where it needs to be. And it's an amazing club. We have gone other places and we're not impressed. It was like, this isn't the place that I want to go on a regular basis because I've been here. That kind of
Yeah.
destroys other stuff. Even at the
We
swingers,
hear that a
events.
lot.
Yeah, at the swinger club, like the takeovers, these are people that travel everywhere with it, and they said,
One of the best, sexiest clubs that they've been into. You know, it's cleanliness, it's elegant, and we heard
and
numerous
it's so
times
big.
that night.
The rooms are beautiful. I mean, it's just, it's. I'm so glad this is our home club.
Yeah. And yes, there is a third part to Jon and Tonya interview.
We literally couldn't keep it down to 2. We were going to, but it feels like each part had its own thing.
It did. And I believe all 3 parts are needed. So coming up next, part 3, we find out how Jon and Tonya manage the club, including how events are handled and the passion they have for the club. There's also a heavy conversation
About our interactions
about
at the
our
club,
interactions.
some recent activities between all 4 of us, and the use of the Dom box.
And a lot of fun that we had in between them, too.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Please follow, like, and share our podcast.
Make sure to visit thedomlife.com, where you can find pictures and other details about the Dom Life podcast. And through the Contact Us button, you can ask questions or provide recommendations for future episodes.
We want to explore your kink too.
Be sure to check out upcoming events to see where our adventures are taking us and our photo gallery to where we've been.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you had fun listening and learning with us.
Till next time, keep calm and remember your safe word.
Red, red, red.